Amazing Spider-Man number 10 is finally here. And let's be honest, this run's been rough. But this issue finally gives us something worth talking about. Today, we're breaking it down, page by page. Spoilers ahead, people, because we need to figure out what is really going on with Spidey. Let's be real. Whoever's under that mask right now, it is not Peter Parker. And I've got a theory on who it really is. The issue kicks off with a flashback. Young Peter lost in a hall of mirrors. On the surface, it feels slow, maybe even unnecessary. But I think Kelly's setting up a theme here. Identity, reflection, losing yourself in the mask. It doesn't fully land yet, but I kept it in mind. Then we cut to the action. Spider-Man versus the Aftershocks, Shocker's new crew, armed with high-tech gear. Visually, it's incredible. These guys look legitimately intimidating. And Spidey's new wrist and ankle cartridges, they add a sharp, dangerous edge to the fight. It feels fresh, like a whole new rhythm. But here's where the story starts to stumble. After Spidey knocks a few goons around, he lands a brutal kick to the head. Just to remind you, these are criminals. They blow up buildings. They will kill again. And suddenly, the narrative wants us to question Spider-Man's morality over this one move. And that is the problem. A descent into darkness should feel gradual, earned, like the slow, inevitable tightening of a noose. Instead, it's rushed, compressed into a single moment. I see the idea, testing how far Peter can go before he crosses the line. But without the buildup, it feels forced, hollow. In a way, this opening perfectly reflects modern Spider-Man storytelling, trying to balance raw action with meaningful character, but so often, rushing one at the expense of the other. Spidey gets slammed into a car, the impact cracking metal and shattering glass. He's down, vulnerable. For a terrifying moment, it looks like the Aftershocks finally have him. One of them gloats, ready to deliver the killing blow, and declares this neighborhood theirs. But suddenly, a shield comes whipping through the air, knocking the villain off his feet. And here he is again, Captain Kintsugi. He's cheerful, almost awkward. Introducing himself like this is some kind of fun team-up. "Nice to have you back, sir," he says. The problem is, it feels hollow. We've seen Kintsugi pop up before, but the book hasn't given us any reason to invest in him. He offers to help, but Peter doesn't even acknowledge him. Instead, Spider-Man barks at him to get down, then webs the villains into a massive cocoon, leaving them stuck and helpless. Kintsugi even hesitates, asking if they can still breathe in all that webbing, like he's trying to be the moral compass here. But Peter doesn't answer. He just swings off without a second thought. And that's what makes this moment strange. It's the second time in this run he's brushed Kintsugi off, and the kid adds nothing to the story except to highlight how cold Spider-Man's become. If the point is to show he's slipping, becoming detached, then fine. But it needs more weight, more buildup. Right now, Kintsugi just feels like a prop instead of a character. We cut over to Black Cat listening to Jonah Jameson, and of course, he's on his podcast, because only Jonah could weaponize modern media the same way he once weaponized newspaper headlines. He delivers the big dramatic claim, Spider-Man has gone rogue. Jonah recounts Spidey's recent fight with Shocker's crew, emphasizing the brutality. 3 men hospitalized, 1 with a shattered hip. And the way Jonah frames it, it's like Peter nearly killed them. But here's the thing, they're hardened criminals, literally blowing up neighborhoods. Spidey beat them down, yes, but calling it going rogue feels like Jonah sensationalizing for clicks, the modern extension of his classic smear campaigns. What's interesting is Jonah even undercuts his own point. He admits they got what they deserved, but then he still pivots back to blaming Spider-Man, trying to sell the narrative of a hero spiraling out of control. That contradiction is classic Jameson, always needing to make Spider-Man the problem, no matter what. Then we transition to something more intriguing. Peter, still suited in civilian clothes, gets approached by none other than Tombstone. The limo door opens, and Tombstone simply says, "Been a minute, hop in." It's a moment loaded with tension, because Tombstone isn't asking for a rideshare. He wants Spider-Man's help. Another gang war is brewing, and Tombstone sees Peter as the key to tipping the balance. Also, Black Cat is watching this interaction, noting how undiplomatic Spidey is with a dangerous gangster. It's a clever setup. Villains recognizing this harsher Spider-Man and trying to use him as a weapon. But again, the story risks rushing the descent. One kick, one podcast rant, and suddenly Peter's being courted by crime lords. That's a huge leap, and it's where the pacing feels off. At Rand Enterprises, we see another side of this new Peter Parker. Even at work, he's different, sharper, more confident, but also colder. He doesn't ease into conversations anymore. He just cuts straight through them. Here, his old childhood friend, who's the reason Peter even has this job, presents his research. Instead of encouraging him or offering guidance, Peter flatly tells him he's wrong. He doesn't sugarcoat it, he doesn't soften it, he just says, "Fix it." And you can see how much that stings. The panels do a good job of showing the dynamic shift. Peter walking tall, drawing the attention of the higher-ups, while his friend gets overshadowed and quietly humiliated. The boss even reassigns him to back up Peter's project instead of leading his own. And right there, you can see the seeds of resentment being planted. It's subtle, but it feels like the book is setting him up for something bigger. Maybe a new villain origin tied to his research into mushrooms and spores, something that could easily evolve into fear gas or hallucinogen-based weaponry. Meanwhile, Peter doesn't seem to notice or care. He just leaves without looking back, completely unaware of the damage he's doing to the people around him. And that, more than the punches he's throwing on the streets, shows how different he's become. On his way out, Peter's actually thinking about work, about Brian, about finally getting some respect from the higher-ups. It's a rare, grounded moment, him reflecting on all the responsibility he's carrying now. And then, boom. Literally, an explosion rips through the street and Peter is thrown into the air, caught completely off guard. As the smoke clears, we get the best entrance of the entire issue. Shocker steps out of the rubble, his gauntlets glowing, humming with raw power, and he delivers one of the coldest lines ever. "Hi, nerd, you pissed off the wrong gangster." It's a phenomenal moment. It instantly reframes Shocker, not as a joke, but as the serious muscle for Tombstone's empire. It's a brutal reminder that in this city, it doesn't matter who you are, scientist or superhero, you can be crushed just the same. He takes it even further, taunting Peter. "Hence, your breathing privileges are revoked," and he casually kicks a can toward him. It's stylish. It's menacing. Honestly, this is the most effective page in the entire book. For once, Shocker feels genuinely dangerous, like he could end someone right here, right now. It's brutal. It's clean. This is the kind of pure villain moment that makes you sit up and pay attention. Just as Shocker looks ready to finish things, Black Cat makes her entrance, literally dropping in with a perfect kick to his chest. It should be a big heroic moment, and visually it is, but the dialogue between them is rough. Felicia tosses out a few one-liners that don't quite land, while Shocker tries to banter back, and it all feels a little off-tone for how intense the fight actually looks. But Shocker isn't the same villain he used to be. He pulls out a new trick. His gauntlets now fire off a devastating sonic wave, a blast so powerful it sends Felicia reeling. She stumbles, clearly hurt, as he casually explains just how dangerous this new weapon really is. He describes it like he's savoring it, wondering whether her blood vessels will rupture first or her internal organs. It's brutal, and it elevates Shocker into something far more threatening than we usually see from him. For once, he isn't the punchline of a fight. He's the one delivering the real danger. Black Cat's left shaken and vulnerable, and the issue does a good job of selling that Shocker is now a force to be reckoned with. Spider-Man comes crashing back into the fight with raw force. He swings Shocker overhead and slams him down hard into the pavement. It's a brutal move, the kind of impact that shakes the page. Spidey looms over him, fists clenched, ready to deliver a finishing blow. Black Cat jumps in, desperate to pull him back. "You got him?" she insists, trying to remind him of who he is. But Peter doesn't stop. The tension here is strong, Felicia pleading with him, while Spidey stares down like a man possessed. And then Shocker whimpers. He says he felt something break. It's supposed to make the scene more unsettling, but it has the opposite effect. A villain like Shocker should be defiant, still snarling even when he's beaten. Instead, the dialogue makes him sound pitiful, and it undercuts all the menace he built up just a few pages ago. Rather than a knockout punch, Spider-Man takes it further. He snaps Shocker's wrist, crushing his gauntlets and stripping him of his power. It's cruel, deliberate, and far from the quippy hero we know. Then, without another word, he webs up the remaining villains and storms off in silence. It's one of those moments meant to show how far Peter's fallen, but the execution stumbles. The idea of him crossing the line is powerful, but Shocker being reduced to a whimpering victim softens the impact. What could have been a chilling confrontation ends up feeling a little hollow again. After the fight, we glide through the city with Spider-Man, listening to his darkening inner monologue. Something interesting happens when you sit in the dark and lose sight of your boundaries. The captions masterfully tie back to the opening, that mirror motif. Identity begins to blur, until labels like Son, Hero, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, they all just fall away. It's a striking visual essay. Crooks cocooned for the cops, glass shattering. And across town, Tombstone watches from his window. He makes a quiet, chilling decision. Message received, a new era. He sees this harsher, dangerous Spider-Man, and he's already planning around him. Then, the hook. A rooftop standoff. Spider-Man lands and says, "Nice work, but I think it's time we had a talk." And standing across from him is Peter. Spidey admits, his voice cracking. I'm scared," Peter answers cold and direct. "You're not Spider-Man." The mask replies, "I'm aware. Just as I'm aware, He finishes the thought. You're not Peter Parker. Double reveal. 2 imposters. The book finally cashes in on the mystery it's been building, and the payoff is electrifying. As a twist, it's effective. As pacing, it's whiplash. We jump from Spidey's getting brutal to neither of these people are who you think in just a handful of pages. I love the idea. It reframes the entire arc. But the breakneck speed undercuts the dread it's aiming for. Visually, however, Dowling's pages sing. Kinetic webs, a warm city glow, bold silhouettes. It's a look that's far easier to live in than the recent JRJR run. So, my working theory? The one in the suit feels Oscorp adjacent. Those modular bands and shooter upgrades scream Norman's fingerprints. This could be a guided proxy, trying to force the real Peter to step up. As for this Peter, that points to a counter move. The chameleon? A grown-up clone ploy? Something Hellgate related? The seeds are definitely there. I just wish the story let them breathe. Alright, your turn. Who's under the mask? And who's wearing Peter's face? Drop your theory below. Norman? Ben? Chameleon? Something wilder? If this breakdown hit, a like really helps the channel. And subscribe if you want more page-by-page Spider-Lore deep dives. Read more comics, and I'll see you in the next one.